Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. So in last class, we were discussing about the land revenue system in India. Okay. Why this topic is important? It's because in the initial phase, what was the most important source of income for the British in India? Land revenue, right? So what will happen? First, the British will extract wealth from India, and that is in the form of land revenue, right? That is the most you can say that important source of income for the British in India, and that's why they designed different land revenue policies in India, different models for different areas, right, which suited their needs in the most effective manner. Okay, so initially the British East India Company was earning about 70 to 80% of its revenue or the income from the land revenue, and this is the situation after 1765. But gradually what will happen, the economic activities will be diversified, and when economic activities will be diversified, so automatically the other forms of revenues or the other source of revenue will do what? Okay, will start helping or assisting land revenue. So land revenue will keep kept on increasing, but the overall share of the land revenue will decrease. Okay, but and in that situation also it was one of the highest. Okay, so the land revenue was one of the most important. Okay, you can say that part of system of exploitation. So we have discussed about these Warren Hastings system. Okay, we have already discussed about what Warren Hastings did. We also have discussed about what Lord Cornwallis did, which system he introduced. Okay, and then in last class I was discussing a system of settlement that was known as Rayatwari system of settlement. Okay, पूरा context समझना, we need to understand the entire context. Okay, so you will not be confused in the questions. ठीक है, so rayat simply means what? Peasant. In last class I have discussed that this is a peasant centric model where the East India Company will do settlement with the peasants or the rayats. Okay, and this system again, they are inheritors, not the innovators. This system was already in practice, but they will collect high share of the land revenue from the peasants, but they will try to justify what they are doing. So what British said? British said that okay, this is a survey and assessment based model. In last class I have discussed it. This was a survey and assessment based model. We will conduct land survey, right? We will do what? Okay, we will examine the nature of the soil, that this soil is suited for which type of crop. All this will be examined. This is the basic idea, and they will say that then we will, okay, just fix the land revenue, and it will be periodically revised. Okay na? So that's why it's not permanent, and that's why it's called rayat. Okay, now I have also discussed with you that previously it was implemented as an experimental model. Okay, then it was implemented on larger areas. Okay, so this was previously implemented on a experimental basis, then it was implemented on the larger area. Okay, so this I have already discussed with you. Okay, I have discussed some names with you. For example, in 1792 it was introduced as an experimental model by Colonel Reed. Okay, in a particular district of Bengal, that was Baramahal district. Okay, but after this what will happen? Okay, there is an important concept related to this Rayatwari settlement, and that I want to discuss with you. 1792 it was implemented on an experimental basis. Okay, in a particular area, small area, in a particular area or small area, that was Baramahal district. Baramahal district. It was implemented on a particular area or a small area, that was Baramahal district. Clear? Who implemented this? This is experimental basis. It was implemented by Captain Reed. implemented by Captain Reed. Okay, then what will happen on the basis of this? Okay, you can say that experimental model, recommendations will be given. Recommendations will be given, and on the basis of these recommendations, okay, in 1820 it was applied to larger areas in Madras region. In Madras region. So it was applied to the larger areas in Madras region. Madras region. And gradually it means South India, Madras. Which model was more popular? So this model, Rayatwadi. Okay, Madras. The other areas are also there. Some parts of Bombay, some parts of Bengal, some parts of Northeast Assam, or some parts of Karnataka. All this is there, but larger in the South India. So you can write this. Some parts, always write here, some parts of Bengal region. Okay, some parts of, okay, some parts of Deccan, some parts of Northeast, some parts of Karnataka, Bengal, Northeast, Deccan, Karnataka. So all this was implemented in a single day, or gradually it will increase. Gradually it will be implemented. Okay. So larger part or territories of South India were covered under this Rayatwadi system. Okay. So gradually, right, this point, it was gradually implemented in different areas. It was gradually implemented in different areas, and it was covering almost 51% of the British Indian territories. It was covering almost 51% of the British Indian territories. तो बताओ सबसे ज्यादा एक्सटेंशन किसका था? रैयतवाड़ी का. ठीक है, it was covered, or it was covering about 61% of the British Indian territories. Okay, now if we compare permanent and Rayatwadi system of settlement, so which is implemented on larger area? Okay, so the answer is Rayatwadi. It was implemented on the larger area. देखो, many reforms were amended in this Rayatwadi system time to time. Read this. Many reforms were also, many reforms or many changes will be the more accurate word. Read this. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. Many changes were also introduced from time to time. ठीक है, जैसे देखो क्या होगा. Some government will bring some legislations. For example, there was a regulation that was introduced in the year 1822. Okay, so Rayatwadi will be implemented in larger areas by this regulation of 1822. Then again what will happen? Okay, there is a good governor general, I will discuss about him in later. That was William Bentinck. ठीक है ना? So again another regulation was brought in the year 1833. Don't write this, just try to listen. 1822 one regulation, 1833 another regulation, and these government regulations are doing what? Introducing some changes in this policy. मतलब रैयतवाड़ी में भी क्या हो रहा है? Different changes were introduced from time to time. Okay, so why these different changes were introduced? To secure the interest of the Indian people, or to secure the interests of the British people? The answer is very clear. To secure the interests of the British people. The changes were introduced from time to time. So जो आपने लिखा ना, changes were introduced from time to time. Right? Example, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833, regulation of 1822, regulation of 1833. ठीक है. अच्छा देखो, when these regulations were introduced, तो other models were also in practice. For example, एक दूसरा model भी है, that is Mahalwari system. So will it bring changes in Mahalwari system also? Answer is yes. Okay, so bracket में लिख लो, these regulations will bring changes in the other land revenue system, land revenue models also. For example, Mahalwari also, they will bring changes in other land revenue model also, that is Mahalwari also. दूसरे में भी changes introduce होंगे. ठीक है. Now देखो क्या होता है. Rayatwadi was applied on larger areas in South India. So in South India, in Madras region, there was a very famous famine. That is, read this, Madras famine of 1867 to 78. Madras famine of Madras famine of 1867 to 78. This famine is prolonged famine or not? Yes, ये तो prolonged famine है ना, मानते हो? And in Bengal there was a famine, Great Famine of Bengal, 1777, 70. Okay, read this, Great Famine of Bengal. You all know, Great Famine of Bengal, 1770. Okay, during this dual system of governance in Bengal, that is Great Famine of Bengal. तो यहाँ पे आपने दो famines देखे. UPSC had already asked question about this. Okay, so we will use this example. That कैसे ये famines जो थे वो man made थे. When I will discuss the topic famine, I will take the reference of these, okay, years. Got it? Because the famines in British India were man made. Okay, how government policies resulted in increased number of famines and the droughts, this we need to understand. Now there was a third model which was in practice, and this model was, right, Mahalwari system. This model was Mahalwari system. Mahalwari system. This was the third model which was in practice, Mahalwari system. And here we are using a word Mahal. And Mahal means what? Mahal means villages, basically group of villages. Group of villages are known as Mahal. Clear? So in India, we all know that India is a country having unity in diversity. Okay, ये तो पता ही है. यूरोप की कहानी वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में आप देख ही चुके हो. इटली, जर्मनी, दे वर फाइटिंग फॉर व्हाट? यूनिटी इन यूनिफॉर्मिटी. एंड इंडिया इज अ कंट्री विच इज हैविंग यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी. तो हम ज़्यादा महान हैं, ठीक है, बिकॉज हमने उसको मेंटेन कर रखा है. ठीक है, यूरोप में तो कई टुकड़े हो गए इस चक्कर में. यूनिटी इन यूनिफॉर्मिटी उनको चाहिए था. राइट नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस हियर इज दैट Mahal means group of villages, and in India there were certain territories or the areas where, okay, group of villages, and you can say that, for example, in each and every village there will be 4 or 5 prominent persons. Okay, and what they will say, the villagers will often recognize it and will accept it. In the same way, suppose there are 4 or 5 villages, so there is a village community which takes all important decision about those villages. For example, today you must have heard the name of Khap Panchayats. Khap Panchayat is the same kind of thing, that there are 4 or 5 villages and some elders of that village, okay, they take all important decision about that village. Okay, even they just deliver judicial decisions also. ठीक है, वहाँ पे कोई crime होगा, they can settle the disputes. They are very prominent. So in India there were some areas where such, you can say that, village chiefs or the group of village chiefs or lumbardars were very influential. So now British thought that, देखो, in some villages there was one zamindar who was powerful and influential. Here there is no one is zamindar, but this is a group of prominent persons who take all important decisions. Now what will happen here? Group of prominent persons taking all important decisions. Now the EIC will think that it will be better to do settlement with these mahals or their chiefs, their lumbardars, and they will be given the collective responsibility that it is your task. You can collect the land revenue from that particular village and you will submit it to East India Company and you will get share out of it. So this is the entire concept, that there are no big zamindars. Clear? And doing settlement with each and every rayat is a very difficult task, daunting task. So it is good that it is easier also, convenient also, that you can do settlement with the group of mahals or these lumbardars. That's why this settlement is called Mahalwari settlement. Itna aasan hai. Okay, so read this. Here settlement will be done with mahals or villages or group of villages and their representatives. Villages, group of villages and their representatives. Okay, their representatives are generally known as lumbardar. Their representatives are generally known as lumbardar. Clear? Or village headman you can say. Group of village headman you can say. Group of village headman you can say. Group of village headman or village headman. So here settlement will be done with them. Obviously it will apply to some selected areas, and what are these selected areas, this we need to understand. So write this. Okay. अच्छा बताओ, पंजाब आज तो हरियाणा भी है, तो उस समय नहीं था. पंजाब प्रोविंस विल बी एन इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया और नॉट? यस, हरियाणा उसी में बना है ना, खाप पंचायत का नाम हम सुनते हैं. सो राइट दिस, पंजाब प्रोविंस विल बी वन एरिया फॉर दिस. पंजाब प्रोविंस प्लस मेनली इट वाज अप्लाइड इन दिस नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, NWFP, नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर प्रोविंस, पंजाब रीजन, Northwest Frontier Province, Punjab region. Right, next point. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Some parts of United Province and Central Province also. Got it? Okay, read this. Rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. Rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. Okay. In some areas it was up to 60 to 80%. यहाँ तक था. The rate of land revenue that was fixed was very high. In some areas it was up to 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. 60 to 80%. ठीक है. Or it will be applied to how much percent of the British area territory? First was 19%, second was 51%. So this will be the remaining. Remaining, what will be the answer? Almost 25 to 30%. Okay, so write this. It was applied to almost 25 to 30% of the British Indian territories. It was applied to almost 25 to 30% of the British areas, right? 25 to 30%. This is the simple thing. Now, what we need to understand here, one point. Have you understood all this? Okay. How these land revenue policies became one contributing factor in the revolt of 1857. This we need to understand. Now I am going to connect these things. That here, what you see is that from 1772 onwards, then 1793, this is, okay, Warren Hastings, Cornwallis. Then we see 1792, 1820. This is Rayatwadi system. Then we see what? Mahalwadi system. Basically 1822. Here the founder was Holt Mackenzie. Write this name. Holt Mackenzie was the founder of Mahalwadi system. Holt Mackenzie. Okay. Concept को समझना है. Try to relate the concepts. ठीक है ना? These years. Are you getting these years? समझ में आ रहा है? बस थोड़े सी चीज़ों को कनेक्ट कर लेना है. Things will be more effective. Whatever you are learning here. One part is what? 1765. That is Treaty of Allahabad. One part is what? 1765 to 1772. And what we have discussed here, dual system of governance. ये क्या हो गया? Regulating Act. Sorry, this is इजारेदारी. Okay. Warren Hastings model. पंचशाला. यहाँ पे क्या है? पंचशाला. Here what we see? Regulating Act. Here what we see? Rayatwadi system of settlement. Here what we see? Okay. Mahalwadi. This is what? Mahalwadi. This is what? Regulating Act or Zamindari. Okay. अब now you relate this. ठीक है. जब हम किसी भी टॉपिक को फिनिश करते हैं, whenever you are finishing any topic, try to correlate this topic with some other issues. Then it will be helpful for your exam, right? Now we are correlating it with revolt of 1857. Okay. बताओ. Dissatisfaction from this land revenue system will be one reason or not? So what we see is that there is a gradually what is happening, a kind of dissatisfaction is accumulating. Okay, dissatisfaction, and this is what, this is happening gradually. धीरे धीरे गुस्सा लोगों का क्या होता है, धीरे धीरे जमा होता है, फिर एक दिन फूट पड़ता है. The same is happening here. What we'll see, write this, gradually dissatisfaction is growing. Dissatisfaction is gradually. Now dissatisfaction among which groups? This we need to understand. Dissatisfaction among which groups? This dissatisfaction is growing among which groups? So the first group will be the peasant, because the ultimate burden shifted on the shoulders of the peasant. पहला dissatisfaction किस पे होगा? Peasant पे. Why peasant will be dissatisfied? We all know. Very high rate of land revenues. Very high rate of land revenue. Peasant was unable to pay. Very high rate of land revenues. Peasant was unable to pay. So obviously peasant will be dissatisfied. बहुत simple concepts है. और देखो, whenever you are watching any class ना, okay, so there should be one parameter that after 2 hours are we able to write something. Why I am saying this? Because okay, of one reason. Okay, whenever I see something na, so I will not like to name any person, okay, but I see that okay, young mind, like new students who are entering into the field of preparation, okay, they can easily be influenced by the teachers. But देखो, teachers are generally 40 years 50 years plus people, so whatever they say, students take it as an authentic suggestion, okay, and they don't realize the importance of their time. What time you are spending here, it is important. पहले तो ये बात समझ लो. If you are spending time with me, okay, so your time is very auspicious. If you are not getting anything from my classes, so you should not join me. This is first clear instruction. And after 2 hours, you should okay evaluate that am I able to write something, whatever I have studied, what is the output of this class, okay. And when you start questioning this is what, इसी को तो कहते हैं sense of inquiry, okay, and you should constantly do this for the next coming 2 years, ठीक है. Then you will be able to filter what is right for you, what is not right for you, okay, and you will get your answer by yourself. अगर आपको ये चीज कोई दूसरा बता रहा है, that is not a good thing. You must be in a position to evaluate yourself, ठीक है ना. तो टीचर्स के प्रति रेस्पेक्ट होनी चाहिए, लेकिन अंधी श्रद्धा नहीं होनी चाहिए, ठीक है, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. दैट शुड नॉट बी देयर, ओके. नाउ देखो यहाँ पे कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है. व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट हियर? peasant are dissatisfied by very high rate of land revenue, plus peasant rights or ownership was also compromised or not? Yes or no? Yes. So write this, okay. Ownership of land, ownership over land, ownership over land was also affected or compromised. Ownership over land was also affected or compromised. Ownership over land was also affected or compromised, right? Ownership over land was also affected or compromised. It means, can we say that an independent peasant, okay, जो पिछली क्लास में बताया था, okay, his status was lowered or reduced, became what? Tenants on his own land. This is the meaning which I have already discussed. Now write third point. What is the third effect on the peasants? Okay, do you think that the peasants will be trapped in the clutches of money lenders? Yes, because the government is not giving any relaxation in land revenue. Whatever be the situation, you will have to pay land revenue on time. So write this, okay. Peasants will be trapped. Peasants will be trapped in the clutches of land money lenders, right? In the clutches of money lenders. Peasants will be trapped in the clutches of money lenders, okay. And this is a class of intermediaries. And who will give birth to this class? Company officials, because they need, जैसे आज क्रेडिट कार्ड पकड़ा दिया कंपनियों ने, ठीक है, कि भैया पैसा नहीं है तो क्या करो, कैन बोरो मनी, ठीक है, एंड दे विल चार्ज हाई रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. वही क्रेडिट कार्ड है मनी लेंडर, राइट? They will do what? They will charge high rate of interest, and you will be trapped where? In a vicious cycle of debt. क्रेडिट कार्ड वालों से पूछना, जो लोग ज्यादा करते हैं, कभी उनका ड्यूज क्लियर नहीं होता है. So here what will happen? Once you are in the clutches of money lenders, you will be trapped in the vicious cycle of debt. Vicious cycle means if you are trapped, it is almost impossible to come out. That is the vicious cycle. So read this. Here the peasants will be trapped in the vicious cycle of debt. vicious cycle of debt, कर्ज में फंस जाएगा. Okay, so there are two options. Okay, sell your land, okay, and migrate to cities to do some or to join some other economic activities. This will happen or not? So do you think that the flight of labor from agriculture to the other economic activities? Yes, this will happen. So write this: flight of labor, flight or migration. You can write that flight of labor from agriculture to other economic activities. And this point we will use later: flight of agriculture, flight of labor from agriculture to other economic activities. To other economic activities. Now tell me one thing: the surplus which the Indian peasant had always in his home. Today also the villagers keep, okay, 10 quintals, 20 quintals, 30 quintals of food grains in their houses. That is stored. This is what? Surplus, which they always maintained, which they can utilize at the time of distress. If your family belong to some villages, you will find that your father, your grandfather, okay, they will do what? Collect the food grains. This is what? Surplus food grains. They used to store. Now, will they be able to store that surplus food grain? No. Zamindars also used to store surplus food grain in their campuses. Will now Zamindar be able to store that surplus food grain? No. And all your income, all your savings are affected because there is high rate of land revenue. Now you don't have money. You don't have surplus food. And at the same time, British are promoting what? Forced commercialization of agriculture. So commercial crops, will you consume at the time of distress? No. Okay, so again surplus, agriculture surplus was affected. You can also write one point here, that agriculture, write this: the state of agriculture surplus was affected. The state of agriculture surplus was affected. The state of agriculture surplus was affected. In bracket you will write that forced COA, commercialization of agriculture, was also one factor. I will discuss this later. You will write this point, that forced COA, that is forced commercialization of agriculture, was also a factor. Forced COA, forced commercialization of agriculture, was also a factor. Got it? इतना तो अभी समझ में आ रहा है ना? I will discuss the definition later. Forced commercialization of agriculture is also a factor. It means, now what about the self-sufficient nature of Indian villages? It will be affected. Yes, it will be affected. So write this: as a result of all this, what happened is self-sufficient. As a result of all this, the self-sufficient nature of village economy was affected. The self-sufficient nature of village economy was affected. As a result of all this, what will happen? The self-sufficient nature of village economy will be affected. Okay, it means what is happening? Okay, impoverishment is increasing, ruralization is being promoted. Ruralization means क्या होगा? और गरीब होते चले जाओगे, ठीक है ना? So write this: impoverishment and ruralization of Indian economy. Impoverishment of peasantry class. At this point, these are the keywords you must know: impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy. Ruralization of Indian economy, impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy, both were increasing, both were growing. Impoverishment of peasantry class and ruralization of Indian economy, both were growing. Now, who has replaced zamindars? Gradually, company has replaced zamindars. ये part समझ में आया कि peasants are highly dissatisfied. Okay, now tell me, 1857 revolt was started by whom? Sepoys. And who are sepoys? Sepoys are the peasants in uniform. Sepoys are the peasants in uniform. जो बॉर्डर पे खड़ा है वो सिर्फ सिपाही नहीं है, वो किसान भी है. ओके, So whatever is happening in the villages will directly affect these sepoys also. Okay, so ये link हमेशा याद रखना. Write this point that okay 1857 revolt यहाँ लिखा ना आपने. Read this. It was started by sepoys. It was started by sepoys. And this point you must highlight. इसको inverted comma में लिख लो. And sepoys were peasants in uniform. Sepoys were peasants in uniform. Sepoys were peasants in uniform. So it's quite clear to relate that whatever will happen in the villages will definitely affect the sepoys. तो वो केवल sepoy mutiny नहीं थी. Colonial historians write that 1857 revolt was okay merely sepoy mutiny. It was only a sepoy mutiny. It simply means that they are trying to demean revolt of 1857. This concept is clear. Now I will address one more class here. The another class which rights was affected was the class of zamindars. Their rights were affected or not? Yes or no? Yes. In permanent system of settlement area, what happened? PSS areas. In PSS areas, you all know that there was one zamindar that we are calling good zamindar. And this good zamindars will be sympathetic to the needs of Indian people. They will be sympathetic. So what will happen? They will not use coercive means. They will not use coercive means to collect land revenue. They will not use coercive means to collect land revenue. पहली चीज. And what is happening? One share of revenue goes to company, and company does not give any relaxation. Company does not give any relaxation in land revenue to the peasant. Company does not give any relaxation in land revenue to the peasant. Peasant को कोई भी relaxation company नहीं दे रही है. Okay. It means that in case of drought and famine too, the peasants are not given any relaxation. And what else the company is doing? High rate of land revenue that is being collected from people. High rate of land revenue. The land revenue rates are very high. They are very high. The land revenue rates are land revenue rates of okay are very high. Land revenue rates are very high. So if company is collecting high land revenue, the company must spend a share of this land revenue on land development works or providing irrigation facilities. But company will not provide that. It means your focus is on collection of land revenue only. Okay, you are neglecting your official duty. If you are collecting revenue, you must spend it on the land development work under irrigation facilities. So company neglected its duties. Right to इनको याद रहा. This is what their right, that they are collecting revenues. But what about the responsibilities or duties? Write this. Responsibilities and duties were neglected. Responsibilities were neglected. Duties were neglected. Responsibilities were neglected and duties were neglected. Why we are saying this? Responsibilities and duties were neglected. So it's very simple. We can say here that, read this, okay, no focus or attention, no focus or attention on land development works, no focus or attention on land development works. Land development works पे कोई focus नहीं, कोई attention नहीं. No focus or attention on land development works. It's clearly visible ना, ये लिखा हुआ visible हो रहा है. Okay, चलिए. No focus or attention on land development work. Right, next point. Neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. It also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. It also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facility. Okay, that is the second point. It also neglected, company also neglected the duty of providing irrigation facilities. ठीक है. Now what will happen in long term if government is not focusing on land development work? आज भी देखो फर्टिलाइजर और ये सब सब्सिडी क्यों दी जाती है? ओके, soft loans to the peasants or the farmers, many a times you will find that their loans are also okay waived off. Why? Because the government understands its responsibility कि हमें peasant community का ध्यान रखना है, yet the government is not taking care of that responsibility. Now ultimately in long term what will happen? Plus agriculture is not profitable, so the peasants are okay migrating to other economic activities. In long term what will happen? Decline in agriculture production, decline in agricultural productivity, and surplus was also affected. अब जमींदार के पास भी सरप्लस नहीं है, किसान के पास भी सरप्लस नहीं है. What will happen if any famine or drought situation okay emerges here? What will happen? देखो ड्रॉट्स, yes, droughts and famines are natural. ये ancient time से होता रहा, but its effects were mitigated. उसके इफेक्ट को क्या किया जाता था? फॉर एग्जाम्पल लोकल रूलर्स विल डू रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू. उनके पास फूड रिजर्व्स है तो वो गरीबों में बांट देंगे. पीजेंट्स के पास खुद के पास सरप्लस है. ओके, रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू वाज गिवन, तो उसके असर को कम किया जाता था. बात समझ गया ना? यहाँ क्या होगा? व्हेन फेमाइंस एंड ड्रॉट these situations will emerge, what will happen? The frequency and intensity of these famines will increase. पीजेंट के पास खुद की कैपेसिटी अब नहीं है इस फेमाइन से जूझने की. एग्रीकल्चर लेस प्रॉफिटेबल हो चुका है, प्रोडक्शन डिक्लाइन है, एंड द गवर्नमेंट, अगर कोई फेमाइन या ड्रॉट लाइक सिचुएशन है, सो द गवर्नमेंट शुड कम विथ ह्यूमैनिटेरियन मेजर्स एंड द रिलीफ वर्क्स. दैट वाज आल्सो मिसिंग. So what will happen? Okay, the number of casualties will increase. That's why it said that the famines and droughts, for example, famine in Bengal 1770, great famine of Madras 1867, बताया ना अभी आपको. Okay, all these famines were what? Man-made. Were the outcome of the company's policies. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? They were artificial. Okay, तो ये अप्रोच आपको ध्यान रखना है. दिस अप्रोच यू शुड नीड कि किसी आंसर में हम यूज करेंगे. गॉट इट? हैव यू गॉट दिस एंटायर आइडिया? रीजन ड्यूटीज वेर नेग्लेक्टेड. ओके, तो यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट आप ऐड कर लो, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज इन कंक्लूजन यू मे ऐड दिस पॉइंट दैट रेड दिस. ओके, फेमाइंस एंड ड्रॉट्स वर natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. Famines and droughts were natural. Famines and droughts were natural. Famines and droughts were natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. It was natural. It was not a completely new phenomena. Okay. ब्रैकेट में लिख लेना फ्रॉम एंशियंट टाइम्स. इट मीन्स दैट एंशियंट टाइम्स से ये चीज़ें देखी जाती रही फ्रॉम एंशियंट टाइम्स. ओके, ब्रैकेट क्लोज. देन यू विल राइट दैट in British India, the famines and droughts emerged as one of the important challenges for the people or for the masses. In British India, the famines and droughts emerged as one of the important challenges. They emerged as one of the important challenges for the people, for the masses, for the people or for the masses, because here the droughts were man-made or artificial, or because here the droughts were man-made or artificial, or the droughts were man-made or artificial, or the results of or the outcome of, ऐसे लिखो, or the outcome of British policies, or the outcome of British policies, outcome of British policies. Right, next point. The frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased. The frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased. the frequency and intensity of these famines and droughts increased, okay, increased during British period, right, due to the neglection of official responsibility, due to the neglection of official responsibility. Have you got some idea? आगे भी पढ़ेंगे बहुत सारी चीजें, तो keep the things in your mind. Okay, you can get questions like this. Example, 2 or 3 examples of the famines we must know. So when we substantiate our opinion with some examples, the quality of our answer becomes better. Okay, now we were talking about the classes. Now the next class was zamindar class. Okay, good zamindar. What will happen if they are sympathetic, if they will not use coercive methods? So will they be able to pay land revenue on time? The answer is no. On them what will be applied? Sunset laws will be applied. And when sunset law will be applied, what will happen? Read this. They became displaced zamindars. They became displaced zamindars. Once sunset law is applied, you became a displaced zamindar. आप displaced zamindar हो गए. They became displaced zamindars when sunset laws was applied. कितना आसान है? Now tell me, when revolt of 1857 will take place, what will happen? These displaced zamindars will support the revolt or not? Yes. Peasant revolt mein they will provide leadership or not? Yes. So write this. Okay. They supported revolt of 1857. Okay. And they also provided leadership to the peasant revolts. Okay. They supported revolt of 1857 and they also provided leadership to the peasant revolts. Leadership to the peasant revolts. This idea is clear. Now another important thing that I am going to discuss here, okay, and you will be surprised to know this. देखो, रैयतवाड़ी सिस्टम में किसके साथ हुआ सेटलमेंट? रैयत्स के साथ. ओके, बट इन महालवाड़ी व्हाट हैपेंड? देखो, महालवाड़ी सिस्टम में क्या है? सेटलमेंट वाज डन विद द महाल्स और ग्रुप ऑफ महाल्स. एक कंपनी की पॉलिसी मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. ओके, इफ यू वांट टू प्रोजेक्ट योरसेल्फ एज द मोस्ट डोमिनेंट पर्सन, मोस्ट पावरफुल पर्सन, जैसे मान लो कोई एरिया है, जैसे मान लो कि सपोज यशस्विनी का गांव है, देयर इज अ विलेज ऑफ यशस्विनी, and Yashaswini is one of the most powerful leader of that particular area. And if I want to project myself as the most powerful leader of that area, Yashaswini is local of her area and I'm outsider, so I will have to do some conspiracy. लोकल का सिंपैथी हमेशा किसके साथ होगा? लोकल के साथ होगा. तो सबसे पहले लोकल की सिंपैथी यशस्विनी के लिए खत्म कर दो. And how it will happen? In Mahal, company will sign settlement with the influential persons or chiefs in the villages. ध्यान से समझना इस बात को, ठीक है? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की पॉलिसी अगर आपने ठीक से समझ ली तो बहुत खतरनाक बन सकते हो, ठीक है? तो व्हाट विल हैपन? कंपनी ने क्या किया? अपना पार्टी, अपनी टीम में किसको ले लिया? लंबरदार्स को. एंड नाउ दे विल चार्ज वेरी हाई रेट ऑफ लैंड रेवेन्यू. ओके, नाउ द पीजेंट्स आर सीरियस कंप्लेंट्स कि इतना ज़्यादा रेवेन्यू हम कैसे दे पा रहे हैं, कैसे दे पाएंगे. नाउ द कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स विल से दैट हम क्या करें, तुम्हारे जो लोकल बॉस हैं, रीजनल मैग्नेट्स हैं, दे आर चार्जिंग ओके हाई रेट्स. व्हाट वी आर पेइंग वी कैन नॉट डिस्क्लोज यू, लेकिन हमारे पास जो भी आ रहा है उसका बड़ा हिस्सा किसके पास चला जा रहा है? लंबरदार्स के पास. नाउ दीज लंबरदार्स वर लाइक द लोकल लीडर्स. Now what will happen? The confidence of the local people in these lambardars will do what? Will further start declining. अब आपकी सिंपैथी लंबरदार्स के लिए क्या होने लगेगी? कम होने लगेगी. अब देखो, अगेन हियर टू क्लास ऑफ लंबरदार्स विल इमर्ज. सब लोग एक जैसे नहीं होते. वन ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स विल बी वेरी हैप्पी साइनिंग दिस सेटलमेंट विथ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, ठीक है? क्योंकि उन लंबरदार के घर भी इंग्लिश वाली मैडम ट्यूशन पढ़ाने आ चुकी है, तभी से जलवा है इंग्लिश वाली मैडम का. मेरी बात समझ गया? नाउ वन ग्रुप ऑफ लंबरदार्स आर वेरी हैप्पी साइनिंग द सेटलमेंट विथ East India Company. They are also helping and supporting AIC officials in their business activities. They are getting benefits. तो एक ग्रुप तो क्या हुआ, easily trap हो गया, one group of lumberdars. But there will be another group of lumberdars. They will say that you cannot charge this much rate of interest. We oppose this. Now the company will say what? Okay, all area belongs to us. We will decide what we have to do. If you have any problem, we will give you pension. Okay, sit idle, don't speak anything. And what will happen? The good lumberdars will be given pension now. आप इस एरिया के सबसे इन्फ्लुएंशियल आदमी थे, अब आपको हम पेंशन दे देंगे, आपको कुछ बोलना नहीं है. नाउ दे विल थिंक दैट यार बैठे बैठे पेंशन मिल जाएगा, कुछ काम भी नहीं करना पड़ेगा. जब भी ये आइडिया आपके दिमाग में आता है कि बैठे बैठे पैसा मिल जाएगा, ठीक है, 2 रुपए का 20 रुपए बनाने वाला जो स्कीम है ना, वो आते ही अलर्ट हो जाओ. तो बैड गुड लंबरदार्स को तो ऐसे निपटा देंगे, दे विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग पेंशन, एंड आफ्टर 5 year 10 year दे विल डू व्हाट, दे विल स्टॉप पेइंग देम पेंशंस. और जब आप चुपचाप बैठ के पेंशन लेने लगे थे, ईआईसी को अपोज नहीं कर रहे थे, तो लोकल लोगों का सपोर्ट, आप में विश्वास क्या हो जाएगा, कम हो जाएगा. नाउ यू आर नॉट द देयर लीडर. So gradually they will be able to break the dominance of these influential persons in these areas. And gradually what will happen? A time will come when company will replace zamindar, when company will replace lumberdar, and now company is the new zamindar, now company is the new lumberdar. ब्रिटेन से आके आपके गांव के जमींदार का प्रभाव खत्म करके खुद उनके ऑफिशियल्स क्या बन गए, जमींदार बन गए. छोटी मोटी बात है, समझ गए? So that's why they designed all these land revenue policies. Got it? Okay. So you can write this point that ये लिख लिया था ना. One point is clear. Zamindar displaced. Right. Next point. In Mahalwari areas also gradually. In Mahalwari areas also gradually, a large number of lumberdars were deposed of their administrative liabilities. In Mahalwari areas also, a large number of lumberdars were gradually large easy karo isko. Okay, the administrative rights of large number of lumberdars were taken back. जितना आसान लैंग्वेज लिख सकते हो लिखना है, ठीक है ना. The administrative rights of large number of lumberdars were taken back. देखो कहीं पे अगर आपको ये दिखाना हो कि मैं बहुत नॉलेजेबल हूँ, तो खूब डिफिकल्ट इंग्लिश बोलो जो सामने वाले को समझ में नहीं आए, खूब डिफिकल्ट हिंदी बोलो. जैसे मैं अगर बोलना शुरू करूँ कि हृदय की भावनात्मक अनुभूतियों की तल्लीनता, अमृत वर्षी आलाप करने वाले मधुर भावों से भावुक कृष्ण काव्य की रचना कर असंख्य हृदयों को हरा भरा कर देने वाले साहित्य के सृष्टा और ब्रजभाषा के गौरव, ऐसे बोलूंगा तो पीपल विल से कितना ज्ञानी आदमी है, महामूर्ख आदमी है जो ऐसे बोलता है. राइट. ओके. तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लैंग्वेज नहीं, ठीक है ना, बट जहाँ माहौल बनाना है वहाँ बोलो. गॉट इट? Okay, so at this large number of the administrative duties or responsibilities of lumberdars were taken away. The administrative duties or responsibilities of lumberdars were taken away. Okay, they were pensioned off. They were pensioned off. उनको pension भी दी गई. They were pensioned off. Administrative duties or responsibilities were taken away. They were pensioned off. उनको पेंशन दिया गया. And gradually they lost their support and sympathy of the local people. And gradually they lost their support and sympathy of the local people or the local masses. And gradually they lost their sympathy and support of the local people or the local masses. तो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने क्या किया? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी डिड व्हाट? ओके, आउटसाइडर. दे डिड व्हाट? दे रिप्लेस लोकल रूलर्स, दे रिप्लेस लोकल जमींदार्स, दे रिप्लेस लोकल लंबरदार्स. एंड नाउ लोकल रूलर वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, लोकल जमींदार वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, लोकल लंबरदार वाज ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. क्लियर? दिस इज व्हाट? कंपनी रूल इन इंडिया. इसी को कहते हैं कंपनी रूल. This is company rule in India. Got this entire concept clear? So our traditional structure was disturbed or not? Yes or no? Yes, our traditional structure was disturbed. Okay, now I will discuss another concept that is also related to agriculture. Now we are coming to the next topic, and that is related to agriculture. And what is this topic? Agriculture. Agriculture में the topic is commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization of agriculture. That's the next topic. Commercialization of agriculture. Okay. Now, can you make some guess that what is commercialization of agriculture? If you will have to define, how will you define this concept of commercialization of agriculture? Define karo in your own languages. What will be the definition? Eh, very, very good, very good, very good. Akash, वेरी गुड. इट मीन्स देखो, इन इंडिया ट्रेडिशनली ऐसा नहीं है कि हम कैश क्रॉप्स ग्रो नहीं करते थे. ऑब्वियसली वी आर ऑल्सो ग्रोइंग कैश क्रॉप्स फॉर फ्रॉम एंशिएंट टाइम्स. एंशिएंट टाइम में क्यों लिख रहा हूँ? बिकॉज एंशिएंट टाइम्स वी वर ग्रोइंग सिल्क ना. आपको पता है वी वर ग्रोइंग व्हाट? कॉटन. देयर इज ऑलरेडी व्हाट? सिल्क रूट. इसका मतलब यस, इंडियंस वेर ग्रोइंग कैश क्रॉप्स. ओके, दिस इज ट्रू. इंडियंस वेर ऑलरेडी ग्रोइंग कैश क्रॉप. ऐसा नहीं कि हमने नया सीख लिया. नहीं, वी आर ग्रोइंग कैश क्रॉप्स, बट वी वर ऑल्सो ग्रोइंग फूड क्रॉप्स. Food crops, cash crops, food crops. And when we are saying food crops, it means that is required for the consumption of our family. That is required for the consumption of our family. Okay, we are growing food crops. And where we are growing cash crops, silk crops. Okay, so here, for example, in ancient time, okay, we know that Kushana rulers were dominating this trade route, which was called Silk Route. Okay, China to Europe. Okay, so we were doing what? We were providing silks here. So this silk was exported, and gradually, when we will do export, we will get foreign currency or precious metal or bullion in return. And in this way, okay, economic prosperity. That was the phase of economic prosperity. So this is one reason. Now in British times, what will happen? British times, what will happen? Now look here, one thing. Our export of cash crops is decided or defined by the needs of Indian economy. ध्यान देना. Kushanas were promoting export of silk, and it was defining the need of Indian economy. If we are exporting silk, we are getting revenues in return. Got it? And this was not forced commerce, forced silk production. लोगों से जबरदस्ती सिल्क का प्रोडक्शन नहीं करवाया जाता था. That is the most important thing. That you are given freedom. You can do this crop production willingly. Cash crop का production willingly कर सकते हो. Now when East India Company will come in British time, what will happen? A change. One is what? Food crops, and on other side I am writing here cash crop. So here what will happen? Cash crop was given priority over food crop. That is point number one. So write this: cash crops were given priority over food crop. Cash crops were given priority over food crops. That is point number one. Cash crops were given priority over food crop. And second point, क्या हो रहा है? Okay, which cash crops Indians have to grow? Who is deciding? Company is deciding. And company is deciding looking at its demand in the European market. Company is intermediary. So who will get maximum benefit? Company will get maximum benefit. So write this. Okay, the nature of cash crops, that are to be grown. Write this: the nature of cash crops that are to be grown is also decided by EIC. The nature of cash crops that are to be grown is also decided by company. It means here you have to grow which crop? It is selective. Nature of cash crop is selective. And which crops are selected? So those crops which are very high in demand, very high in demand in European market, they will be selected. Those crops which are very high in demand in European markets will be selected. For example, indigo. Why indigo will be very high in demand in European market? Because there was textile revolution and synthetic colors were not discovered till then. Indian indigo was very rich blue in color, so that's why indigo. Cotton, silk, ये तो रहेगा ही रहेगा. Cotton will be there, silk will be there because there is industrial revolution. Cotton, silk, indigo. This all will support what? Yes, jute bhi aayega. This all will support what? Industrial revolution. Then, right, opium, tea, sugar, black pepper. इसके अलावा भी other commodities are there. Opium, okay, tea, sugar, opium, tea, sugar, black pepper, etc. So there are many such raw materials, okay, cash crops which are being produced in India. Okay, now what will happen? This is selective. Okay, what you have to grow is deciding company, and it is deciding according to the needs of Britain. ब्रिटेन को किससे फायदा हो सकता है? इफ कंपनी विल गेन प्रॉफिट्स इन इंडिया, अल्टीमेटली हु विल गेन प्रॉफिट्स? ब्रिटिश इकोनॉमी, क्योंकि कंपनी तो ब्रिटेन की ही है. एंड थर्ड एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, राइट, कैश क्रॉप का प्रोडक्शन क्या है? इट इज ऑल्सो पोस्ट सीओए, पोस्ट सीओए, पोस्ट कॉमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, post COA. Why we are saying post COA? Because, right, this peasants were compelled forcefully, peasants were compelled forcefully to grow these cash crops. Forcefully, उनको compel किया गया, peasants were compelled forcefully to grow these crops. ठीक है, they were compelled forcefully. So that's why we are saying it, okay, forced. Now I will discuss this nature, forced commercialization of agriculture, with a theme that is given in class 8 NCERT, that is niche and rayati cultivation. I will discuss this part. Till now UPSC has not selected this question for exam. In future they may choose this area. Okay, now niche and rayati, write this, niche and rayati method of cultivation. Class 8 NCERT में है. Okay, I will discuss. You can niche and rayati method. Niche and rayati method. These are the methods of indigo cultivation. Niche and rayati method of indigo cultivation. These are the two methods of indigo cultivation. And we all know that indigo is what? A cash crop. Indigo is a cash crop. And why we are learning this topic? The reason is that we could understand that how forced COA was promoted. So the basic objective of inclusion of this topic is to understand how forced COA was promoted by EIC. How forced COA was promoted by EIC. So I will start with this topic first, that is niche method of indigo cultivation. Okay, so read this first topic, that is niche method. Niche method of indigo cultivation. Niche method of indigo cultivation. Okay, the story is very interesting. And what is the story? Dekho, this is related to one important part, that is 1813 charter. Okay, read this, 1813 charter. 1813 charter. We'll discuss in detail later, but this reference is very much important. 1813 charter did what? Okay, 1813 charter, you all know that EIC monopolistic rights over trade were taken back except exception. Dekho, we all know that from dual system of governance time, the company critics were demanding कि कंपनीज मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स मस्ट बी टेकन बैक, पता है ना आपको, बताया था लॉर्ड क्लाइव वाली कहानी, कंपनीज मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स वर टेकन बैक एंड अंडर द pressure mounted by these critics, government introduced regulating act 1773, but the demand was still continued कि नहीं, कंपनी की मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स आपको क्या करनी है, वापस लेनी है. If you will take back the monopolistic rights of company, it simply means that others will also get the opportunity to come to India to do trade and commerce in India. यहाँ क्या हो रहा है 1813 के चार्टर से, government announced that the monopolistic rights of company is taken back, but there are two exceptions where company will still have the monopoly. तो याद रखना 1833 में क्या था, कंपनी की मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स ऑफ ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स वाज टेकन अवे. इट डज नॉट मीन दैट कंपनी विल नॉट डू ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स, इट मीन्स दैट अदर्स विल आल्सो एंटर. मेरी बात समझ गए ना, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि कंपनी ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स नहीं करेगी, नहीं, अदर्स विल एंटर, इसका मतलब ये है. So here what will happen, read this, monopolistic rights of company were taken back, but okay, except two areas. One area was tea trade, and the second was trade with China. This is a very important fact for prelims, लिख लेना. This is a very important fact for prelims. When someone asks you that companies monopolistic rights were taken, you will say that 1830, but it was monopolistic rights were ended completely or partially in 1813. Not completely, it was partially. So write this. Here monopolistic rights were ended partially, not completely. Here monopolistic rights were ended partially, not completely. Monopolistic rights were ended partially, not completely. Monopolistic right यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? It was ended partially, not completely. Two rights were retained. One is tea trade and the second is trade with China. It means tea trade केवल और केवल कौन कर सकता है? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. चाइना के साथ ट्रेड कौन कर सकता है? Others also. What does it mean? It means that the gates of India were now open for the other individual traders and merchants of Great Britain. अब वो यहाँ आ सकते हैं. So write this. It also means that the gates of India now were open for all. Gates of India now were open for all. All means other individual traders and merchants of Great Britain. वो इंडिया में आ सकते हैं, अदर इंडिविजुअल ट्रेडर्स एंड मर्चेंट्स ऑफ ग्रेट ब्रिटेन. और 1833 में क्या हुआ था, जरूरत हमें केवल इसी टॉपिक की है, बट यू मस्ट नो दैट 1833 द कंपनीज मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स वर एंडेड कंप्लीटली. ये टी और ट्रेड विद चाइना इसको भी खत्म कर दिया गया. तो इसी सीक्वेंस में लिख लो सो दैट इट विल बी एबल फॉर यू टू रिकॉल. सो यहाँ पे लिख लेना 1833 चार्टर. 1833 चार्टर, राइट दिस. कंपनीज monopolistic rights were ended completely. Companies monopolistic rights were ended completely. पूरी तरह से क्या हुआ, खत्म कर दिया गया. Companies monopolistic rights were ended completely. Now 1813 के बाद क्या हो रहा है, other private traders और businessmen can come to India. वो इंडिया आ सकते हैं. बहुत लंबे समय से वो इंतजार कर रहे थे कि इंडिया चले. इंडिया में ज़्यादा गेट्स ऑफ इंडिया बताया था ना एक स्टेटमेंट, ओके, दैट ईच एंड एवरी यूरोपियन ग्रुप वांट टू कम बट नन ऑफ देम वांट टू रिटर्न फ्रॉम हियर. ओके, डिफरेंट मल्टीपल गेट्स टू कम, 100 गेट्स टू कम, but not a single to return. It means that they don't like to return because they are getting huge benefits here. Now what is happening here is that suppose we all are the British merchants and traders. Now we decided that we will go to India and will do trade and commerce. So when we will come to India, we will focus on the most profitable trade. And what was the most profitable cash crop? It was indigo. Suppose I am a British merchant, okay, or British merchant, Mr. John arrives India. British merchant, Mr. John arrives India. उसके पास पैसा है, बहुत सारा पैसा. He will come to India, he will invest money, okay, and he will do business. So he decides that I will do what? indigo cultivation. I can earn a lot of profit from this indigo cultivation. So for indigo cultivation you need what? A farm. एक farm चाहिए ना आपको. So he will do what? He has a lot of money. He will come to India and he will do what? He will possess land first. He will possess land first. Either he will take this land on rent, or he can also purchase this land. He can also purchase this land. ठीक है ना. हालांकि ये परचेज करने का राइट कब मिला? 1833 के चार्टर से मिला. दैट द ब्रिटिश कैन कम टू इंडिया, दे कैन सेटल इन इंडिया, दे कैन परचेज लैंड्स इन इंडिया. ये 1833 के चार्टर से मिला था. 1813 के चार्टर से क्या था कि दे कैन कम टू इंडिया, दे कैन डू ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स. तो यहाँ पे वो क्या कर सकते थे? दे कैन टेक द लैंड ऑन रेंट. वो रेंट पे ले सकते थे. बहुत आसान सा कॉन्सेप्ट है. 1833 के चार्टर ने क्या किया था? इट हैड अलाउड डिफरेंट यूरोपियन सॉरी इट हैड अलाउड ब्रिटिश ट्रेडर्स एंड मर्चेंट्स टू कम टू इंडिया. दे कैन सेटल इन इंडिया, दे कैन परचेज लैंड्स इन इंडिया. तो यानी कि इनके पास ऑप्शन दोनों था. इफ यू विल टेक बोथ दीज 2 years, either they can take the land on rent or they can purchase the land. After that, what will they do? After this, right, this they will purchase, okay, all tools, agricultural tools and equipments, all tools and equipments that are needed for indigo cultivation. ये भी खरीद लिया. अब आपके पास लैंड भी है. You have all the tools and equipments that are needed for indigo cultivation. ये भी हो गया आपके पास. All tools and equipments that are needed for indigo cultivation. Now tell me one thing. Indigo cultivation is what? Labor intensive industry or capital intensive industry? क्या है ये? Labor intensive. So lastly you will need what? Okay, workers. Indigo peasants. ये चाहिए. ठीक है. So we all know that this is what? A kind of labor intensive industry. This is a labor intensive industry. So what was the ultimate requirement? The ultimate requirement was the laborers or workers who will work on this farm. Who will work on this farm. ये तो आपको चाहिए. बिना लेबर और वर्कर्स के आप काम नहीं कर सकते. You need what? Laborers or workers who will work on your farm. This is your ultimate requirement. Now what will happen? The harvesting season of indigo crop and the harvesting season of some popular food crops, okay, were the same. And now the peasants are busy in their own farms. Now you are asking them that I will pay you money. Peasants will say, हम क्या करेंगे money का? खर्चा कहाँ करेंगे? Okay. So what will happen? You want manpower, you want laborers, workers to work on this farm, but the peasants are already busy in their own farms. So what will happen? This was the one of the most important challenge faced by the indigo planters. Planters means owners of these indigo farms or plantations. That scarcity of labor, okay, they were not unable to get workers to work on this farm. So ultimately this model will be successful or this model will be failed. This model will be failed. ये model क्या हो जाएगा? Fail हो जाएगा. And this model is called niche cultivation method. इसी को क्या कहते हैं? Niche cultivation method. This model was not very much successful. This was not very much successful. This model was not very much successful. What is the reason here? You can write that the indigo planters, you can say that owner of these plantations were the British people. They were the British people, British capitalists. Okay, so they were unable to get the workers. So there was a scarcity of labor. They were unable to get the workers here. So there was the scarcity of labor. A scarcity of labor bhi hai. Okay, a scarcity of labor. Okay, and as a result, this model will not prove to be successful. ये model successful नहीं होगा. This model will not prove to be successful in India. So British are very smart. जब एक model नहीं successful होता है तो they will bring another model. Okay, they are very smart people. So now they will bring what? Another model. Write this. Okay, so this model did not prove successful. So write this. they introduced another model, that is alternative model, and this is called Rayati system of indigo cultivation. This is called Rayati system of indigo cultivation. They will bring this model, Rayati system of indigo cultivation. Now, what is this model? We will just try to understand with the help of a story. Okay, that what is this Rayati system of indigo cultivation? Suppose this is a village. Okay, suppose this is village, and there are different peasants who have different size of farms. Okay, there are different peasants who have different size of farms. This is village. मान लेते हैं इस village का नाम है बदलापुर, right? This is the village Badlapur. There are different villages, okay, peasants who are having their own land. और यहाँ पे ये क्या कर रहा है? These people are growing agricultural crops. Now this is the house of Mr. John. Mr. John. Mr. John is a capitalist, British capitalist. He has a lot of money. So first he will recruit an Indian middleman. सबसे पहले किसको recruit करेगा? An Indian middleman को. So first he will recruit a representative. First he will recruit an Indian middleman. An Indian middleman. ठीक है? Suppose this is the Indian middleman. Okay? And he is very expert in convincing people. Convincing people. Indian middleman is very expert in convincing people. Suppose this Indian middleman is Akash. चलो आकाश को बना लेते हैं Indian middleman. ठीक है? Now Akash will go and meet the villagers, and Akash will say that Mr. John had sent me, and I have a very good proposal for you, and this is an opportunity which will change your life. Okay, so don't miss this opportunity. ठीक है, जब भी किसी को बेवकूफ़ बनाना होता है तो ये पहला लाइन होता है, डोंट मिस दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. ठीक है, ओके. So Mr. John had sent whom? Akash, and Akash is asking villagers that I am the representative of Mr. John, and Mr. John has a very good offer for all of you, for all the villagers, and this opportunity is going to change your life. Don't miss this opportunity. अब जब ऐसे आकाश कहेंगे तो villagers will listen. Villagers will say that tell us what is the offer or what is the proposal. Now Akash will say that Mr. John had said that, okay, you have to grow indigo on your farms. तो इंडिगो का नाम सुनते ही गांव वाले उठ के जाने लगे, अरे अरे बेवकूफ़ बनाने आया, राइट? आकाश विल से दैट नहीं नहीं, बैठ जाओ, थोड़ी देर और बैठ जाओ, थोड़ी देर मेरी बात सुनो, प्रवचन सुनो, ठीक है, आगे डिसाइड करना तो फिर से बच्चे बैठ जाएंगे, ठीक है, प्रवचन फिर शुरू होगा. नाउ आकाश विल से व्हाट? आकाश विल से दैट यू डोंट हैव टू ग्रो इंडिगो ऑन ऑल योर फार्म. सारे फार्म पे इंडिगो नहीं ग्रो करना है, ओनली 1/4. एक बार करके देखो, दिस इज जस्ट एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल, यू आर गोइंग टू गेट अ लॉट ऑफ बेनिफिट्स. तो बीच में से एक पीजेंट उठा, सपोज दिस इज द पीजेंट हियर, पीजेंट का नाम है रोहित. रोहित सेड दैट ओके, जस्ट आई वांट द ऑफर ऑफ द प्रपोजल. एंड व्हाट आकाश इज सेइंग? आकाश इज सेइंग दैट ओके, सपोज दिस इज द फार्म, सो आकाश विल से दैट ओके, you have to grow indigo on only 1/4 of your farm. 1/4 part, 1/4 portion of land you will grow indigo. का पूरे फार्म को मैं इंडिगो ग्रो करने की नहीं कह रहा हूँ, कितने में करो? 1/4 portion you will grow indigo, and we will give what? Advance payment to you to grow indigo. We will give advance payment. 1/4 part में you have to grow, plus what will happen? Advance payment will be given to advance payment. So advance payment, giving advance payment to the indigo peasants was known as dadani, DADANI, right? Question PYQ of UPSC, dadani, DADANI, right? This the practice of giving advance payment to the peasants, the practice of giving advance payment to the peasants to grow indigo cultivation is called dadani. आपको क्या मिलेगा? एडवांस पेमेंट मिलेगा, ठीक है? You have to grow indigo. Plus, we will also do what? Provide you proper training, हम आपको प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग भी देंगे, प्लस वी विल ऑल्सो गिव यू whatever the equipments you will need. Whatever the equipments you will need, we will give you. We will give you proper training, we will give you advance payment, we will also provide you the support of giving equipments. Okay, right? We will give you all these things. And once indigo is cultivated, we will purchase this indigo from you and you will get surplus. Okay, and once you realize that this model is good, okay, तो हम आगे भी डील कर सकते हैं, बट यू कैन डू इट ऑन एक्सपेरिमेंटल बेसिस. यू आर गोइंग टू गेन अ लॉट ऑफ बेनिफिट्स फ्रॉम दिस. नाउ द पीजेंट्स आर कन्विंस्ड. पीजेंट्स ने कहा यार ट्राई तो करना है, 1/4 हिस्से पे इंडिगो कल्टिवेट करना है, एक बार करके देखते हैं, पैसा भी नहीं लगने वाला है, वी आर गेटिंग एडवांस पेमेंट फॉर दिस, ट्रेनिंग भी मिल रही है, और बायर भी घर पे आके इंडिगो लेके जाएगा, आपको कहीं पहुंचाना नहीं है. द कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स विल कम, they will collect this indigo from your farm and they will take it with them. Now the peasant was convinced. Peasant convinced हो गया, and this is a trap. ये trap है. Peasant was convinced. When they gave this offer, now the peasant was convinced. Peasant हो गया convinced. Now what will happen after this? This is very interesting. One harvesting season was over. One harvesting season is over. The peasant is convinced. Now this is Rohit. Okay, and Rohit has grown indigo on 1/4 portion of his land. 1/4 portion of land में रोहित ने indigo grow किया है. Now the EIC officials will come and they will say that where is your indigo? Rohit will say that साहब this is indigo. यही है, सामने पड़ा हुआ है. Right? EIC officials will look at this indigo and they will say that क्या किया तुमने? हमने ऐसे ट्रेनिंग तुमको थोड़ी ना दी थी. We have not trained you like this. It seems that you have compromised. You are not honest in your work. Okay, and you have violated the provisions of the treaty. We have paid you advance amount. We have paid you 1,000 rupees, and the indigo which you have cultivated, okay, it you will get only 300 rupees for this indigo. So you will be paid how much? 300. And the advance you have taken is how much? 1,000 rupees. का एडवांस 1000 दिया और तुमने इंडिगो कल्टिवेशन ठीक से किया नहीं है, तो जो आपका ये क्रॉप है, हार्डली वी कैन ऑफर 300 रुपीज फॉर दिस. एंड नाउ रोहित इज नॉट अवेयर about the indigo price in the market of Bengal, in the market of European countries, because Rohit is not connected to the market. Price आपको पता नहीं है. और the company is saying that ये 1000 का indigo नहीं है, कितने का है? 300 का है. Now the company will say that you have two options. Option number 1, return our 700 rupees. And option number 2, sign agreement for the next time. And promise us next time you are going to do hard labor. Next time और मेहनत करोगे, promise करो. Now peasants will have the cash money in their hands, yes or no? No. Cash money तो होता नहीं था. So now Rohit will think that okay, I will sign this agreement for the next time. और next time में क्या होगा? I will do hard labor. मेहनत भी आपसे करवाएंगे, बार बार कहेंगे काम अच्छा नहीं कर रहे हो. I will do hard labor and next time I will be able to repay the debt and I will also get some advantages, benefits. कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स विल से अगली बार मेहनत करो और पुराना डेब्ट भी चुका दोगे एंड यू विल गेट सम बेनिफिट्स आल्सो. नाउ रोहित साइंड दिस एग्रीमेंट फॉर द सेकेंड टाइम. रोहित साइंड दिस एग्रीमेंट अगेन. हार्वेस्टिंग सीजन इज ओवर. नाउ कंपनी ऑफिशियल्स विल कम एंड दे विल से दैट इस बार भी हमने 1000 रुपीज तुमको दिया एडवांस. नाउ दिस टाइम यू हैव डन कंपैरेटिवली गुड वर्क, so this time we will pay you 500 rupees for your product. इस बार 500 रुपीज आपको देंगे. नाउ इधर रिटर्न अस हाउ मच. अब कितना रिटर्न करना है? यहाँ पे सरप्लस कितना था? 700. यहाँ पे सरप्लस कितना हो गया? 500. इधर रिटर्न अस 1200 रुपीज और साइन अनदर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. रिटर्न करो या साइन करो. अब तो पिछली बार वो 700 नहीं दे पाया था, अब वो 1200 कहाँ से देगा? नाउ यू विल से दैट नो, आई एम अनेबल टू पे 1200. कंपनी विल से दैट साइन अनदर एग्रीमेंट. दोबारा एग्रीमेंट साइन करो. And in this way an Indian peasant is trapped in this cycle. अच्छा, आपसे प्रॉपर डीड साइन करवाया, you have signed agreement. So if you have some complaint, so revolts will not solve this problem. you will have to go to judiciary. And who has developed this? Who has developed this system of judicial? British East India Company. और उसमें भी क्या था, जुडिशरी में भी, ये भी बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है. Okay, that if there are two parties, both parties are British, so only a European judge or British judge will, okay, take that case. But if suppose there is any dispute between two parties and one party is Indian, in that case there will be no any Indian judge. The judge will always be a British judge. अगर कोई भी डिस्प्यूट में दो पार्टी इन्वॉल्व है, उनमें एक पार्टी इंडियन है, एक पार्टी ब्रिटिश है, तो जज हमेशा कौन होगा? ब्रिटिश होगा कि इंडियन होगा? ब्रिटिश. नाउ द डिसीजन विल केम इन द फेवर ऑफ, किसके फेवर में डिसीजन आएगा? इज देयर एनी मीनिंग to go to judiciary to solve the dispute? No. The judicial system that was developed by British in India, the fundamentals were based on what? Discrimination. ऐसी judiciary बनाई. तो यहाँ पे बताओ peasants trapped हो गए कि नहीं? Yes. And after 2 or 3 harvesting season, okay, the indigo planters will say that अब आपने 1/4 में कल्टिवेशन कर लिया, अब ये वाले पोर्शन की जगह यहाँ पे कल्टिवेशन करो, so you can grow more indigo. वो क्यों कह रहे हैं? We all know indigo cultivation, if you will grow in one portion for the continuous 3 or 4 year, the soil will lose its fertility. So the second option is change it to the another portion. In this way the indigo peasants were trapped. Okay, they were not able to come out. So what will happen if you cannot go to judiciary? And even if you go to judiciary, judiciary will not address your concern. So ultimately the indigo peasants will do what? Revolt. That is what? A revolt of indigo peasants. If your concerns are not addressed, then what will happen? You will do revolts. Got it? So which method was more better for the British people? Niz or Rayati? Rayati. Okay, Rayati means peasant. Here the settlement has been done with whom? Indigo peasant. Okay, that's why it is called Rayati. Rayat means peasant. Is it clear? Now can we say that the commercialization of agriculture in India was forced commercialization? We can say it or not? Yes or no? Yes. This is what? Forced commercialization. Okay, forced commercialization. Got it? Now, forced commercialization of agriculture. Agriculture topic, is it clear? Okay, indigo rebellion. जब rebellion हम पढ़ेंगे तो we will come to that part. Now I am coming to the another part. Now this part we have discussed completely agriculture related issues, land revenue policies. We have discussed this topic, commercialization of agriculture, and this all was doing what? Okay, agriculture production is declining, agriculture productivity was also declining. Okay, impoverishment of peasantry class, okay, this was happening. Now what will happen? Okay, now the other economic activities. Now let's discuss about the other economic activity. From ancient times in India, craft making was one of the most important economic activity. There was diversification of craft, and this diversification of craft was one of the reason for the economic prosperity of India from the ancient times. So at this point, that from ancient times itself, diversification of crafts, okay, was one of the major pillar for economic activities in India. Diversification of craft was one of the major pillar for the economic activities in India. Okay, for example, I am writing here, okay, cotton textile craft. Cotton textile craft. Is this diversification of craft or not? Yes. Cotton textile craft. In India, cotton textiles were made by this factory system of production, or it was a part of cotton spinning industry. Cotton spinning industry handicraft industry का हिस्सा था. That was a craft industry because यहाँ industrial revolution था नहीं, but we use this word industry. ठीक है ना? So always remember that this was a part of traditional craft industry and that is cotton spinning industry in India. ये क्या था? Cotton spinning industry. Cotton spinning industry. That is what? Traditional craft industry. Cotton spinning industry and traditional craft industry. And we all know that textile crafts were European markets were flooded with Indian textile goods. ये तो हमें पता था ना, before the British came to India. Now when British will came to India in 1760s, what will happen? You all know, industrial revolution in Britain and political control over India. Both are simultaneous. Gradually what will happen? Which industry is the worst effect industry in India? Cotton textile. मतलब इसमें और भी चीजें आ गई, but this is symbolic. So you can write that this was worst affected. This was worst affected. ये सबसे ज्यादा affected. Worst affected. British machine made goods did what? British machine made textiles. Machine made textiles were cheaper. They were cheap. वो cheaper थे. तो यूरोपियन मार्केट को भी ऑक्यूपाई कर लिया ब्रिटिश मशीन मेड कॉटन टेक्सटाइल्स ने. मशीन मेड टेक्सटाइल्स, दिस विल बी द बेटर यूज. गॉट इट? जैसे आपका एक्सपोर्ट यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में, तो दे ऑक्यूपाइड योर मार्केट आल्सो, एंड नॉट ओनली योर मार्केट आउटसाइड इंडिया, but they also occupied your domestic market. So for India there was an international market where India was exporting cotton, that was occupied by the British machine made textiles, and domestic market was also occupied by the British machine made textiles. So you can write that, okay, international market as well as domestic market, okay, for India both were occupied by, okay, machine made textile goods of Britain or factory made textile goods of Britain, both were occupied. इंटरनेशनल मार्केट और इंटरनेशनल मार्केट, ब्रिटेन में एक्सपोर्ट डिक्लाइन हो जाएगा कि नहीं? यस. ओके, इंटरनेशनल मार्केट एंड डोमेस्टिक मार्केट बोथ वेयर ऑक्यूपाइड. Exports were affected or not? Yes or no? Yes. Exports were affected. Exports were affected. When exports will be affected, what will happen? Economic activities related to this industry will decline or not? Yes. Exports are affected. So write this, okay, that this manufacturing activities in India declined. Manufacturing activities in India declined. बताओ अर्बन सेंटर्स भी डिक्लाइन होंगे कि नहीं? Those urban centers which were famous for cotton textile, they will also decline. Write this, decline of many urban centers. For example, बनारस एक important center हुआ करता था, it declined. Okay, decline of many urban centers as a result. Decline of many urban centers as a result. Decline of many urban centers as a result. वो भी decline होगा. Okay, decline of many urban centers as a result, and its overall impact will be where? Unemployment will increase or not? Yes, unemployment will increase. Write this, unemployment will increase. बेरोजगारी बढ़ेगी. Okay, unemployment will increase. Now relate one thing, agriculture is now more profitable or less profitable? Less profitable. And here textile industry, okay, unemployment is growing, increasing, and now the people are doing what? Flight from agriculture. They are leaving this occupation of agriculture और वो सोचते हैं कोई दूसरा काम धंधा कर ले. And what will happen? Do you have any alternate source of economic activity? No. It means the people are migrating from agriculture. Agriculture is not profitable and the other economic activities are also affected. So what will happen? Unemployment and poverty will increase or not? Yes. Your savings will be affected or not? Yes. your savings will be affected. So read this, unemployment will increase, poverty will increase. Okay, connect करना है यहाँ पे चीज़ों को बस, ठीक है ना. Unemployment will increase, poverty will also increase. Unemployment बढ़ेगा, poverty बढ़ेगी. अच्छा, is it only about this cotton? No, it's also about wooden craft, wood craft. Read this, wood craft, metal craft. Craft भी कई तरह के हो सकते हैं. You can say wood craft, bamboo craft, metal craft, wood craft, bamboo craft, metal craft, metal craft. Okay, pottery craft, pottery craft. So there can be, okay, various kind of craft activities. Okay, pottery craft, ज्वेलरीज हो सकता है, स्टोन क्राफ्ट हो सकता है. देयर वर डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ क्राफ्ट, ज्वेलरी क्राफ्ट, स्टोन क्राफ्ट, stone craft. So there were so many economic activities in India. Okay, pottery craft, jewelry craft. There were so many economic activities. Now tell me, British will do what when they will come to India? They will promote Indian culture or they will promote Western culture? They will promote Western culture and Anglicization. Okay. When they are Anglicizing the Indian prince or the native state rulers, don't you think that they will try to Anglicize Indian people also? Yes. Clear? So read this point, that British official policy was promotion of westernization. Promotion of westernization. ये ब्रिटिश की ऑफिशियल पॉलिसी थी, एंग्लिसाइजेशन, promotion of westernization, anglicization. Clear? Christian missionaries were also sent to India. We also know this. Christian missionaries were also sent to India. And the purpose was what? In the name of promoting religion and education, in the name of promoting health and education, they were promoting Christian religion. They were promoting conversion. ठीक है, नाम क्या था? Health and education. And they are doing what? Promoting conversion. Okay, so read this. Christian missionaries were also sent. Christian missionaries were also sent to India. And read this. In the name of promoting health and education, they were promoting Christian religion. Okay, they were promoting conversion to Christianity. In the name of promoting health and education, they were promoting Christian religion. Christian religion. Conversion to Christianity. और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया हो सकता है जहां पे ये प्रमोट कर सकते हो, दैट कुड बी द ट्राइबल एरियाज. देखो क्या है ट्राइबल एरियाज में, क्या है? दीज पीपल हैव देयर ओन लोकल कस्टम्स एंड बिलीव्स. ओके, so if you come to Bengal and you see Hindus, so they are, okay, their fundamentals in Hindu religion, beliefs, principles, it means that is highly organized. Okay, it will be very difficult to interfere in the religious affairs of the Hindus of Bengal or interfering in the issues of Muslims in Bengal. But it is easier for you to interfere in tribal customs and practices. Okay, you will try to give them some benefits. Okay, you will try to explore the human nature of Christian religion, and you can easily get the tribal people converted to Christianity. तो एक टारगेट ये हो सकता है, कहाँ पे चले जाओ? In forest areas and convert the tribals to the Christians. ठीक है. Second was the British establishments in the form of, okay, cantonment areas where there were sepoys. जैसे आज भी you will find that in prisons, Indian prisons also, okay, the spiritual, you can say that thinkers or orators, good orators are sent to the Indian prisons so that they could communicate with the prisoners, so that हम उनका कुछ मेंटल लेवल उसको अपलिफ्ट किया जा सके. तो ये भी हमने कहाँ से सीखा? कंपनी से. कंपनी डिड व्हाट? कंपनी विल सेंड स्पीकर्स in the cantonment areas. These speakers are the Christian, okay, and they will do what? In the name of, okay, giving ethical teachings and beliefs. Basically they were promoting which religion? Christian religion. But वहां पे प्रॉब्लम हो गया. कैंटोनमेंट एरिया में जो सेपॉइज हैं, उनमें जो हिंदू सेपॉइज हैं या जो मुस्लिम सेपॉइज हैं, उनमें वो जो रिलीजियस आइडेंटिटी है दैट वाज वेरी, ओके, कंसोलिडेटेड. ट्राइबल्स में वो नहीं था. So Sepoy mutiny mein, this is also one reflection. Overall, the essence of this thing is that on one side, British were also trying to promote westernization. They are trying to promote anglicization. Why they are doing this? Because once you will adopt Christianity, when you will become Christian, your consumer needs will be similar to the needs of British people, and you will start using those goods which are used by the British. Okay, you will start celebrating those festivals which are celebrated by the British. अब क्रिसमस डे बनाओगे तो आपकी कंज्यूमर नीड्स भी तो उसी के अकॉर्डिंग हो जाएंगी. ध्यान से समझना इस बात को. ओके, यू विल स्टार्ट वियरिंग द dresses uniforms in the manner they which they wear. Okay, you will start following or adopting their cultural practices. So this all was done to make Indians better consumer for the foreign goods. और जब आप better consumer बन जाओगे तो you will support what? Industrial revolution in Britain. आप British goods खरीदोगे, but it will have an impact on the Indian handicraft. Handicrafts will gradually decline. Clear? And British will also use what? Unfair tariff policy. And this will be also one reason for the decline of handicraft. कितना इंपॉर्टेंट आइडिया है, समझना है आपको. ओके, तो एक तरफ तो एग्रीकल्चर प्रॉफिटेबल है नहीं. ऑन द अदर साइड व्हाट वी सी, on the other side what we see is your handicraft industry is also declining, so unemployment will increase. ठीक है ना, ये है. And this all is happening due to the policies of the ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. ठीक है ना. सो यू कैन राइट हियर दैट क्या लिखा था आपने, promotion of westernization and anglicization, right? The ultimate objective was to convert, the ultimate objective was to transform the consumer needs of Indian people. The ultimate objective was to transform the consumer needs of Indian people. Okay, if they will become if the consumer needs of Indians will be similar to the consumer needs of British people, if the consumer needs of Indian will be similar to the consumer needs of British people, if the consumer needs of Indian will be similar to the consumer needs of British people, in this situation, okay, in this situation, industries in Britain, in this situation, industries in Britain could be promoted. ऐसे में क्या promote होगा? Industries in Britain, they could be promoted. Industries in Britain. So all whatever is happening here, okay, so this all is what? Okay, with some purpose, and the purpose is to provide gains or benefits to the British industries. मेरी बात समझ गया? तो decline in handicraft. Okay, so decline in handicraft, so write this, decline in handicraft industries, decline in handicraft industries. Now I will relate one more thing here, then we will move ahead. Decline in handicraft industry. देखो क्या था, the local zamindars, okay, the local rulers, they were the good buyer of these handicraft goods. They paid good prices for these handicraft goods. Indian elite class paid good prices for this handicraft good. Now what has happened? Indian elite class has been replaced by British elite class. बताया था ना आपको. Now zamindar was replaced by East India Company, lambardar was replaced by East India Company, native ruler was replaced by East India Company. So these handicraft industry did what? They lost their most important buyers. Okay, and this will also be one reason for the decline. This is the concept part that can be asked in exam. So write this point, that local, write this, Indian elite class, Indian elite class, Indian elite class, bracket में लिख लेना, local zamindars, native rulers, etc. Indian elite class, that is local zamindars, okay, native rulers, etc. were the good buyers, were the good buyers, were the good buyers of these handicraft goods. good buyers of these handicraft goods. They were the good buyers of these handicraft goods, right? Indian elite class was replaced by British elite class. Indian elite class was replaced by British elite class. Indian elite class was replaced by British elite class, right? Indian elite class was replaced by British elite class, and British elite class किसको promote करेगा? They will promote British goods. So right, this in this situation also the handicraft was declined in India. Handicraft industry was declined in India. This is also one reason that handicraft industry declined. This is also one reason that handicraft was declined. Or there will be one more reason, that is uh, discriminatory tariff policy introduced by British in India. Unfair tariff policy or discriminatory tariff policy introduced by British in India. Discriminatory tariff policy introduced by British in India. That is also one reason. Discriminatory tariff policy or unfair tariff policy that was introduced by British in India. What does it mean? Discriminatory tariff policy. Okay. Export duty को क्या कर दो? Increase कर दो. And suppose you are sending some handicraft goods to Britain. So in Britain market, what you will do? Import duty को increase कर दो. So your Indian goods will automatically become costlier in the British market. और क्या करो? British goods पे in Britain export duty 0, and now India, who is ruling? British is ruling. Again, again import duty is what? 0. So you have done what? Okay. अगर हम compete करने की condition में भी हैं, if we are able to compete with the British machine made goods, so this unfair tariff policy, okay, will do great harm. We will not be able to compete. So this will happen what? The handicraft industry will also decline. Now we use a word that is deindustrialization in India. Read this word, deindustrialization. Deindustrialization in India. Deindustrialization in India. Deindustrialization in India. तो देखो, in technical sense, okay, there was no industrial revolution in India. India में तो industrial revolution था ही नहीं. So when we are saying industries in India, basically we are talking about traditional handicraft industries. पहले तो ये समझ लेना है. When you are defining this term deindustrialization, so first you must know that in India, okay, industrial revolution was not there. Industrial revolution नहीं था. So when we are using this word industrialization in India, when we are using this word, that is industrialization in India, so basically here we are talking about, read this, here we are talking about, when we are talking about industrialization in India, we are talking about, okay, traditional handicraft industries. This is the meaning. We are talking about traditional handicraft industries. याद रखना, traditional handicraft industries. उस सेंस में हम इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन कह रहे हैं, राइट? वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ट्रेडिशनल हैंडीक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्रीज. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रिच urban centers in India. We are talking about rich urban centers in India that were famous for trade and commerce. Rich urban centers in India that were famous for trade and commerce. When we are using this word industrialization, we are using it because there was balance of trade, surplus, and exports were greater than imports, and Indian goods were flooded in European markets. Indian goods were flooded in European markets. We are talking in this sense here. Is it clear? Confused नहीं होना है, बार बार समझा रहा हूँ, because you will find words. वैसे book पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, I have included everything. So when we are using this word deindustrialization for India, so first, what is the meaning of industrialization for India? So it's not industrialization in modern sense. Clear? It's not industrialization in modern sense and technical sense. Here the word industrialization is not used in the modern sense and technical sense. Here we are talking about traditional handicraft industries. India में rich urban centers थे that were famous for trade and commerce, we all know. Mathura, we all know, Banaras. In this way, there are so many rich and urban centers. Okay, balance of trade was surplus, export greater than import, European market flooded with Indian goods. But what happened? This feature declined slowly, continuously, gradually. And why it declined? As a result of economic policies of company in India. This feature declined, and this is what? Deindustrialization. Got it? So write this. These features, these features, okay, these features, these features declined gradually. These features declined gradually. It means there is a slow, continuous, there is a slow, continuous, and marked decline. There is a slow, continuous, and marked decline in these features in India. There is a slow, continuous, and marked decline in these features in India. Slow, continuous, and marked decline in these features in India. इन फीचर्स में क्या हो रहा है? स्लो, कॉन्टिन्यूअस एंड मार्क डिक्लाइन. अच्छा, इसको भी अगर मैं एलेबरेट करूं, व्हाट इज दिस स्लो, कॉन्टिन्यूअस एंड मार्क डिक्लाइन, तो आप क्या कहोगे? एग्रीकल्चर लेस प्रॉफिटेबल, डिक्लाइन इन हैंडीक्राफ्ट. ओके, द पॉपुलर अर्बन सेंटर्स, ओके, दे डिक्लाइन. न्यू अर्बन सेंटर्स इन्वॉल्व. नए अर्बन सेंटर कौन से हैं? जो ब्रिटिश की वजह से इवॉल्व हो रहा है. बंगाल, मद्रास, बॉम्बे, ये किसकी वजह से इवॉल्व हो रहा है? ब्रिटिश की वजह से हो रहा है. दिस इज व्हाट स्लो एंड मार्क डिक्लाइन. So we will further explain this. Slow and marked decline means what? Agriculture production productivity is declining. Handicraft decline. Okay. Then we can say that rich urban centers, they decline. This is what? Slow, continuous and marked decline. What happened? Unemployment ये बढ़ जाएगा. Unemployment increased. बेरोजगारी बढ़ गई. Unemployment increased. Okay. Domestic savings were affected. Domestic savings were affected. देखो, जो आप पढ़ते हो वही यूज करो. Unemployment increased. Domestic savings were affected. What about the purchasing power of the people? It will increase or decrease? So read this. Purchasing power decreased. Okay. Domestic savings were affected. Purchasing power was decreased. Unemployment increased. Unemployment increased. Unemployment increased. And ultimately what we will say? That the nature of Indian economy was transformed. Read this. It also means that the nature of Indian economy was transformed. Nature of Indian economy was transformed. Nature of Indian economy was transformed. And I will define this. Nature of Indian economy was transformed. You all know this. Now India was, okay, exporter of raw materials and importer of मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स. यही तो हुआ ना. ओके, पहले क्या था? वी वर द एक्सपोर्टर ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स. नाउ वी आर द, read this, now India became major exporter of raw material. Now India became major exporter of raw material and major exporter of raw material and importer of manufactured goods. Major exporter of raw material and importer of manufactured goods. And this all happened due to the policies of, okay, company, policies of British government. Okay, so read this. Okay, this transformation or change was man-made or artificial. This entire transformation was, this entire transformation or change was man-made or it was official, right? This entire transformation or change was man-made or official, right? It was as a result of British economic policies in India. It all happened, or it was as a result of British economic policies in India. Okay, and we can say that, this entire process, and we can say that this entire process reflects the subjugation of Indian economy. This entire process reflects the subjugation of Indian economy under British economy. This entire process reflects the subjugation of Indian economy under British economy. This entire process reflects the subjugation of Indian economy under British economy. समझ गए? How Indian economy was subordinated under British economy? Okay, as a result of official policies of the company. If someone asks you what is deindustrialization, so first you will write that here industrialization does not mean modern sense or technical meaning of industrialization. Here industries in India means, okay, exactly, prosperous traditional handicraft industries that was very diversified. And what is deindustrialization? The slow, continuous and marked decline in this nature is known as deindustrialization. और एक्सप्लेन करना है तो बता सकते हो. सबऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी. अब बहुत सारी चीजें आप समझ चुके हो. नाउ यू आर फैमिलियर विद एग्रीकल्चर, handicraft industry. There are some more topics that we need to understand, that in India, who was responsible for the development of modern industries? Physical infrastructure. What is the role played by these physical infrastructure in the development of modern industries? What was the role of Indian capitalist class in the development of modern industries? This all we need to understand. Okay, got it? So we'll also discuss about that. Okay, and lastly we will discuss what was the drain of wealth. What is the economic critique of the early nationalists in India? So we are reading both these two parts together, economic policies and their impact. दोनों को हमने क्या किया? जोड़ दिया. For example, now you are familiar with land revenue policy and the impact on peasant, on the impact on zamindar and all this. Okay, so we are correlating both these two things. Okay, so still we have to discuss many important issues in this chapter, and this chapter is one of the most core area or the favorite area for the UPSC question. When you will look at the question, you will find the answer by yourself, PYQs. और क्लास में जितना मैंने पढ़ाया है, आगे जो भी पढ़ाऊंगा, क्वेश्चन इस पेरिफेरी को क्रॉस नहीं करेगा. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? Whenever the question will be asked, it will be in this entire periphery. So if you understand the concept, you can easily solve the assertion and reasoning based question and the concept based questions. Plus we are also learning the facts. आगे फैक्ट भी आपको बताऊंगा, दैट पॉलिसी 70 बताया, पहले भी बताया कि वी विल डिस्कस दैट व्हाट हैपेंड फ्रॉम 1757 टू 1813. एक वर्ड यूज किया था ना, मर्केंटलिज्म, पीरियड ऑफ फ्री ट्रेड, पीरियड ऑफ फाइनेंस कैपिटलिज्म. सो दिस ऑल वी विल डिस्कस. सो स्टिल वी नीड टू डिस्कस दिस चैप्टर. आज के लिए इतना ही. नेक्स्ट डे आई विल एंटर इनटू द अदर एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज. गॉट इट? एनी क्वेश्चन? कोई क्वेश्चन? थोड़ा देखो टाइम लगेगा, ठीक है, बट मेरे पर्पस दो है. पहला ये है कि आप क्लास अटेंड कर रहे हो लाइव, तो जो भी आपके डाउट्स हो, कंसर्न हो, थोड़े ज़्यादा बेटर ढंग से एड्रेस हो जाए. दूसरा जो पर्पस है वो ये है कि चूंकि जो भी रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स हैं, ओके, इफ़ एनी न्यू कमर विल वॉच दीज लेक्चर्स, तो उसको कहीं से भी कोई दूसरी हेल्प लेने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़े. लेक्चर्स सफिशिएंट हो, बिकॉज थोड़े क्लासेस में कम कर दूंगा तो आपका टास्क बढ़ जाएगा, और वो टास्क कितना ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगा कि आप सोच नहीं सकते हो. अगर मैं एक या दो चैप्टर्स के साथ कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ करूं तो आप उस कमी को फुलफिल करने के लिए 2-3 बुक्स परचेज कर लोगे, ठीक है, एंड यू विल बी ट्रैप्ड. तो बेटर वी शुड नॉट गेट ट्रैप्ड. केवल और केवल कहाँ फोकस रखना है? प्रैक्टिस PYQs, ठीक है ना? आई एम डिस्कसिंग ऑल इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट्स बट यू विल कीप प्रैक्टिसिंग PYQs. तो आपका प्रीलिम्स क्लियर होने का रास्ता क्या हो जाएगा? खुल जाएगा. मेंस और सारे कॉन्सेप्ट अलॉन्ग विद द प्रीलिम्स आई एम डिस्कसिंग हियर. और जैसे ही वो गेट ओपन होगा, ट्रस्ट मी, व्हेन यू विल राइट मेंस, ओके, 1 अटेम्प्ट 2 अटेम्प्ट, हर लोग की अपनी प्रिपरेशन के लेवल से होता है. ओके, यू विल स्टार्ट रियलाइजिंग द ट्रू नेचर ऑफ द कंपटीशन एंड ट्रू नेचर ऑफ द एग्जाम. ये आपके सेल्फ एक्सपीरियंस से ही आएगा, खुद के अनुभव से आएगा. जब तक खुद अनुभव नहीं करोगे, आपको ये एग्ज़ाम हमेशा पूरे इंडिया में होने वाले सभी एग्जाम में सबसे डिफिकल्ट एग्जाम नजर आएगा. और जिस दिन आप उस चीज़ को एक्सपीरियंस करने लगोगे, प्रीलिम्स पे कमांड हो जाएगा, यू विल स्टार्ट क्लियरिंग प्रीलिम्स एंड यू विल बी राइटिंग मेंस, तब आपको रियलाइज होगा कि ये एग्जाम शायद स्टेट PCS के एग्जाम से भी इजी है. एसएससी भी ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट है यूपीएससी एग्जाम से, ठीक है, मेरी बात समझ गया ना। बट एक आपको ट्रेंड को समझना होगा कि यूपीएससी डिमांड्स गुड ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, फर्जी वाला फैक्ट नहीं, रेलिवेंट फैक्ट प्लस गुड कमांड ओवर द कॉन्सेप्ट प्लस अ गुड राइटिंग स्किल। वो भी राइटिंग स्किल मैंने बताया वो नहीं चाहिए, ठीक है। कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लैंग्वेज वाला आदमी बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए, सिंपल इन विच यू विल बी एबल टू। आज द हिंदू में एक आर्टिकल आया था, और वो द हिंदू या एक्सप्रेस किसी में था, मैं भूल गया, उसमें एक वर्ड यूज हुआ था, एक था रोबोटिक टीचर्स एंड वन इज रेफ्लेक्टिव टीचर्स। तो हियर वी नीड व्हाट, रेफ्लेक्टिव टीचर्स। और केवल रेफ्लेक्टिव टीचर्स नहीं चाहिए, रेफ्लेक्टिव स्टूडेंट्स आल्सो, रोबोटिक स्टूडेंट्स नहीं। रोबोटिक स्टूडेंट्स क्या करेंगे, बुक की लाइन को रटेंगे और सोचेंगे यही वाला क्वेश्चन आ जाए और मैं आंसर लिख के चलाऊं, जो होगा नहीं यूपीएससी में। दे विल फ्रेम न्यू क्वेश्चन, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड यू कैन राइट द आंसर वेरी इजीली, ठीक है। आपको बेसिकली असेंबल करना है, पार्ट्स आपके पास हैं, असेंबल करना है, राइट। तो सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास, थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू। कोई क्वेश्चन है? ओके, यस। अब एक्चुअली मैंने जो प्लान किया था वो ये था कि थर्सडे से मैं क्लास लूँ 8 to 9:30 PM, बट थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम उसमें ये आ रहा है दैट कुछ स्टूडेंट्स पे बर्डन ज़्यादा हो जा रहा है, दे वांट टू रीड इट इन एन इंटरेक्टिव मैनर, सो आई थॉट दैट दिस विल बी अ वेरी गुड सॉल्यूशन व्हेन आई विल फिनिश वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री, ठीक है। आई थिंक दैट देयर आर 5 or 6 लेक्चर्स, तो मेरा प्लान था कि वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री के तुरंत बाद में फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी डिस्कस करूंगा, तो आई विल कंप्लीट वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री एंड विल स्टॉप। आई विल डिस्कस फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी, ओके, आफ्टर सम टाइम। तो वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री कंप्लीट करके मैं रुक जाऊंगा, ठीक है, और फिर आप लोगों के साथ एक टाइम कम्युनिकेट कर लूंगा, और फिर क्या होगा कि 2 आवर्स की क्लास हम इंडियन सोसाइटी और सोशल जस्टिस की कर लेंगे, ठीक है ना। तो अर्लियर आई थॉट दैट आई विल स्टार्ट इट फ्रॉम थर्सडे, बट आई थिंक दैट व्हेन आई विल फिनिश दिस ना, तो इट विल बी बेटर, ठीक है। और इस बीच में क्या होगा, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री इज फिनिश तो स्टूडेंट कुछ पढ़ लेंगे, देन व्हेन आई विल स्टार्ट फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ फॉरेन पॉलिसी, तो दे विल कम विद देयर डाउट्स। तो मुझे थोड़ा ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है व्हेन स्टूडेंट्स इंटरेक्ट एंड आस्क क्वेश्चंस एंड डाउट्स, आई ऑलवेज इनकरेज दीज थिंग्स। तो मतलब थोड़ा ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा, इनकरेजिंग होगा मेरे लिए भी, ठीक है ना। तो ये प्लान है, तो पहले फिनिश कर लेते हैं वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री को, ठीक है, ज़्यादा क्लासेस नहीं है, और उसके बाद एक टाइम डिस्कस करके इंडियन, देखो अब इसमें भी देखो मैं केवल इंडियन सोसाइटी नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा, बिकॉज ये दो सेगमेंट को सेग्रीगेट कर ही नहीं सकते, ठीक है। अगर दोनों सेगमेंट को सेग्रीगेट करके दो टीचर ने पढ़ाया तो कहानी वही हो जाएगी, एक फूल दो माली, ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होता। यूपीएससी एग्जाम बड़ा अलग है। अच्छा मान लो मैं मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री पढ़ा रहा हूँ, अगर 10 चैप्टर्स हैं, 10 टीचर्स विल टीच 10 चैप्टर्स, आउटपुट विल नॉट बी बेटर, कभी नहीं होगा, हमेशा याद रखो, ठीक है। वो प्रो इंस्टीट्यूट पॉलिसीज हो सकती है, बट कभी भी वो बच्चे के इंटरेस्ट में नहीं, बिकॉज आई नो कि पहले चैप्टर में क्या पढ़ाया तो दूसरे में क्या कोरिलेट करने की जरूरत है। एंड द सेम इज ट्रू विथ एंशियंट, मिडिवल एंड मॉडर्न एंड वर्ल्ड। मैं एंशियंट में पढ़ाया, तो जिन्होंने एमसी किया आप पा रहे होगे बार बार चीज़ें क्या हो रही हैं, रिलेट हो रही, ठीक है। और एक सेगमेंट और हम स्टार्ट करेंगे, अभी नहीं, when modern Indian history will finish, I will start a segment that will be art and culture. That's not AMC. It is only art and culture. Okay, so it will be almost 12 to 15 classes where I will discuss literature in detail, architecture in detail, sculpture in detail. ठीक है, तो जिसने AMC पढ़ा है उसके लिए वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल होगा, और जिसने नहीं भी पढ़ा है यू कैन अटेंड, ओके, उस पूरी क्लास को अटेंड करो, और दोबारा जब AMC में पढ़ाऊंगा तो उस लेक्चर को भी आप कर लेना। आई नीड 4 to 5 स्टूडेंट्स मिनिमम, इतने चाहिए जो कैमरा ऑन करके इंटरेक्ट करें, ठीक है। अदर्स कैन ऑल्सो ज्वाइन, बट थोड़ी क्लासेस ज़्यादा मतलब वो हो जाती हैं, मतलब रियलिस्टिक बच्चे को फील होगा कि क्लास में है, और जो लाइव अटेंड करेंगे ऑब्वियसली, ओके, ज़्यादा बेनिफिट तो है ही है, यू कैन आस्क योर डाउट्स, ठीक है ना। तो सोसाइटी को कुछ टाइम के लिए पोस्टपोन करते हैं और वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री को फिनिश करके सोसाइटी शुरू कर लेंगे, ठीक है आकाश। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? ओके, वेलकम वेलकम, थैंक्स टू ऑल ऑफ यू।